and welcome to another episode of Real Men Feel. My name is Andy Grant. I'm your host and founder. With me, as always, is my co-host Appio Hunter.
Hey!
And Appio, you're having some fun today?
I'm having lots of fun today.
Good.
Yeah, lots of. Let's just say that I have a family member traveling on Delta Airlines, and she was flying on a buddy pass standby, and it has provided lots of opportunities for me to practice what I preach.
Good.
Yeah.
And you're practicing successfully, it seems.
I am practicing successfully, and I keep moving back to that space of absolute gratitude, even, in spite of the circumstances, in spite of the challenges, feeling deep gratitude for not only the employees at Delta who are working under impossible circumstances, but the kindness of many, many strangers who are also stranded, who are grouping together and looking out for each other and really being just absolutely amazing. So
Awesome.
Lots of gratitude to go around.
Awesome. Good to hear. And glad you made it with all that happening too. For anyone new to the program, Real Men Feel is really about giving men a space to allow for and express all of their emotions, to feel, right? I don't care if you feel happy. I don't care if you feel angry. I don't care if you feel shame. I just invite you to feel as a man. And a lot of men are taught not to feel. So that's what we're all about. Each week we have a different conversation. Each week we have a different guests. And I'm very excited. This week our guest is Gabriel DiCristofaro, the founder of PlannedManhood.org, and he also has a coaching practice with his wife called Inviting Mr. and Mrs. Right. And you're in Colorado today, is that right?
Yeah, Denver. We're out, in good old Denver, man. Been out here the last 15 years. So
cool.
Nice.
So, and we're going to talk about the notion of, because we had a brief conversation before the show about that Planned Manhood, which is just an awesome name. I can't believe that hasn't been used somewhere already. But it is the notion of sexual education for men.
yeah, really, right? There's, that's exactly it. Obviously we're going to talk about it more, but my initial thought was, if I was 18, 19 years old, which I was at some point, and we all are at some point,
Right?
It's a little difficult to walk into the pink building for advice. You know what I mean? Planned Parenthood, right? Just saying. So, recently you know what they say? If you don't see somebody out there doing it, then it's you that's got to do it.
Right. So we're not talking about health class. We're not talking about something in the schools. You're talking about for legal aged men. Where can they go?
Yeah, where can they go, right? It could be younger as well, but really for a guy. Now I know it's kind of funny, but I actually wore this maroon. I guess it's kind of a dark wine looking shirt. Unless you're colorblind, and then it's just like a darker purple. I would want a blue, darker purple maroon kind of motif at the clinics and the RV vans that we want to do. We want to do mobile stations. I have a whole plan on PlannedManhood.org. So that's that. But I get excited, man. You can tell, because I think we're going to make a difference, and people, women, everybody's excited. So yes. So
want to share something what's the big vision? But forget where you're at now. What is the big goal with your vans and houses and maroon shirts
and all that? Yes. Okay, great. So with Planned Manhood, I had this idea to replicate some of what they were doing at Planned Parenthood, right? Except obviously have it more male focused, right? So what are places you could go? For one thing, one goal. Look, we have a lot of kids on the planet, clearly, right? Based on results, we have a lot of people that like doing it. Great, that's exciting. But like driving a car, there's better techniques to drive and steer and enter and exit and do such things.
And enjoy the whole experience. Yeah.
It's, life is a team sport, and I'd like to let the world know that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So big vision, really big vision, right? I broke it down in 3 stages. It was one of those where I was inspired and I just started writing over a period of days, and I thought, okay, what does that look like? Big picture. So first, imagine a place where you could get snipped, right? That's that little, that thing, right? Some guys are they choose out. They're ready. They're clear. I'm out.
Right.
Well, then why waste all that time getting pregnant, maybe having an abortion? Somebody's upset somewhere about it. When you could be ahead of, right? Instead of crisis management, what if we could do preventative?
Crisis prevention instead.
You know how much 3 rubbers costs? $3. Are you kidding? Do you know how much an unwanted pregnancy costs, man? $28,953.
Just the economics alone speak for themselves.
it's ground, it's ground shattering when you realize we spend, as a public, by the way, this is taxpayers, since we're talking voting, everybody's all hype. Right? We're talking billions of dollars per year that taxpayers pay for unwanted pregnancies. And I mean, that's whether they abort or they keep it. I'm just saying the total of, hey, we didn't really want that, but now we have to pay for it.
Gotcha. And you had shared before, so Planned Parenthood is probably the most well-known kind of national organization, right? But they don't really provide anything for men.
Not, I went in to get the little, the little snippety-do, and they said, we just don't do it anymore.
Oh. So
I was like, really? I was like, really? But you do everything else. We do. I said, okay. So I had to go in Colorado. I had to go search. I was just curious, what was provided for people that maybe don't know where to go, don't have the money, because it costs a couple $1,000s. It's one of these. And so I found there were these funds of millionaires who put like $1 million fund that if you were a guy and said, hey, it's time for me to, then, we'll pay for you. Like there's these funds that are out there supporting that, and I was rather amazed by that. However, here was the problem. There weren't very many places to go get the procedure, right? So you had to go kind of look around more. And I thought, wouldn't it be great if you just, as a guy, plan manhood. Hey, I'm going to plan my manhood, right? I'm going to plan it. I'm going to have control. Whether you buy, you come down and get prophylactics, we'll get all technical and scientific.
Right.
Right? Stop some diseases and, save some unwanted pregnancies and heartache. Love to provide that. Then, now here's the big one. The education idea is to make it about community. So imagine, because we have the Planned Manhood YouTube channel that we're just starting, is good men in our society can now take a moment to do a 1 to 3 minute video to answer a common question that a man would have in life regarding what? Health, sex practices, and of course parenthood. Right now, I know some people want to go all over, but that's where I want to focus, right? Sex and then parenthood, because they're really like this, right?
Sure.
They're like right next to each other.
Sure, absolutely.
So
and there's that lies within the overarching theme that I keep hearing, which is responsibility. Let's take responsibility as men, not only for our reproductive health, but also how our sexual practices, if we decide to bring children into the world, our responsibilities as fathers, all of that falls under that umbrella.
There it is, right? They're very close, right? The first time you have sex, I mean, you could be 16 the first time and be a dad
9 months later,
a couple of weeks later.
Sure,
that's a lot of business, man, for a guy who just got a job at McDonald's or whatever. Something just starting in life. So.
Yeah.
And when did you first have the idea for this? How quickly has this come to fruition?
So about 6 months ago. About 6 months ago, I'd been going to some accountability groups with men, like starting our businesses and, what are we doing to contribute in the community. I had volunteered a day at safehouse.org. It's where abused women can go to be safe. Like literally it's a safe house. So we helped replace toilets, man. I was ripping up old toilets and, that kind of stuff. For me, the big thing I see, this is the big plan, is that I want to have a source, especially nowadays for videos, where young men, old divorced men, doesn't matter, can go and get just a simple piece of information about a strategy or maybe a way to approach something, right? So that's what. So it becomes now, of course, by natural selection, that hot word. The videos will obviously rank better when people think they're valuable.
Sure.
Right. So, so for example, I have a friend of mine, Tanner Wendell. He does the Incredible Man Project. I told him all about you guys. I think he'll be a good fit for your future shows.
Awesome. Is
that your opportunity to shift the mindset of men is now available, right? We're not 20 years ago where some of us are, but yeah, man, it's a different kind of man. You can just groove now. You got to be adaptable. But it really is, right? The new man, the successful man that finds a great female partner has insight into both behaviors and how they mix together, right? How do we become incredible men in the world? And it really is by sharing with other guys, you know, hey, look, I learned this situation when I was younger. Here's a couple ways you can approach it. You know, whether it's parenting or single manhood or, you know, I mean, seriously, you know, putting on a
it almost sounds like you're kind of some virtual mentoring via these videos.
Right, to start it. Yeah, to start it.
Yeah. Cool.
Right, isn't it? Right, if some kid could see, I mean, nowadays you could do anything on YouTube. I mean, you could almost build a spaceship if you watched enough videos.
Right. You know, what I think is very fascinating and really incredible about this idea that you have is that so many of the quote-unquote irresponsible, whom we label irresponsible fathers, the deadbeat dads and so forth, are people who essentially never had fathers of their own. They never had role models. They never had anybody, any resources that they could turn to, you know, to say, okay, how can I be a responsible male with regards to my sexual practices, with regards to fatherhood, if that's what, you know, if that's what happens, all these things. They didn't have those resources. And so that cycle continues, though their dads very frequently were either absent or the same irresponsible types. And so they just go by whatever is out there, and they didn't have any place to turn. So the cycle continues and continues and continues. And I see this vision of yours that you have, which is amazing, to help to break that cycle, create something totally new and unique and different that provides those resources to those young men who and older men, for that matter, who desperately need it.
Yeah, man. You know, you get, you know, so here's where I'm going to tie in the dating coaching for me, kind of, which is just the strangest thing I ever got involved in. I definitely didn't see that. You know, I mean, really, right? Is that, you know, you got divorcees nowadays, right? People are living to be 75, 85 years old. So it's not get married once and make it 20 years and then really you're dead at 30, right? People are going twice, 3 times as long. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's almost predictable that most of us will at least have a relationship or 2, possibly 3 during a lifetime, right? And they all go through the same phases. You know, how do you meet them? How do you handle it? How can you connect? And I found a lot of men were confused, right? I mean, 50 years old, you got to drop back on the dating market. I mean, man, I feel for you. You know what I mean? I do. I want to ring a bell and, you know, do a prayer and say, hey, I feel for you, because it's rough.
I pull out the prayer for that flag and everything else, yeah. And
so now,
I see that a lot. I hear that frequently. So that's a very valid point that you make, that, yeah, everybody, once they've been out of the dating scene for a long time, it's like starting all over again. Whew.
Right. But even it can be worse than starting over again, because everyone assumes you know what you're doing by then.
Right.
But if you feel like you're starting over, then maybe a higher
you just make a whole entirely new set of mistakes.
Like, yeah, you're an adult, right? You should know what's going on. But they don't know. I mean, do you text? Do you call? Do you Facebook? Oh, I didn't mean to share that private picture of us on Facebook. Oops. Right? These are all things that guys, I mean, really, how cool if it could just be in that general kind of way to help guys feel a little bit grounded with some simple tools and ideas. I mean, that's right. You know, and then of course it leads us to hot topics of, you know, childbirthing and not childbirthing and that's a hot one. But I feel like, you know, maybe it's time for men to stand up for that. Now I'm going to share something. Let's see if we can, you know, traction on this. But imagine a young man brings his girl to playing Manhood and says, listen, me and my lady are in a situation. I wanted to come here and see if we could talk to you. Right? They could come and have that, because maybe the guy doesn't feel quite as good going to the other place.
Right.
But now he could come and get some information and really, and so people know I'm neutral about what I believe or don't believe people should do with their bodies. I really am. I don't think in any way a human being having to release is the word I'll use, right? Is to release whatever's inside them. I mean, have some sympathy for that experience. That's got to be just emotionally excruciating.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So if we can provide something as men, because we're the, you know, that's where we are. They look at us to lead how other men, what's the standard we set out? If we say, hey, it's to respect people for their choices, you know, but educate them. Because remember, as you asked me earlier, Andy, our goal at Planned Manhood is 20% more adoptions. That's it. I'm just looking for 20%. You know, people are upset about this this formation of something, and I don't want to get into the argument of what that is, but there's a formation of something, right, of cells, while there's like a 6-year-old that's alive right now in an orphanage somewhere being completely neglected and ignored.
Yeah.
Right? Some child whose parents have died or something, he's a juvenile delinquent, lost in the system, and what did he do? He stole, I don't know, a pack of meat and some bananas. Mm-hmm. Right? And this kid's lost, and we're fighting over this pile of cells when there's a real child out there who's ready to be like, somebody love me and teach me how to be what? A contributing citizen of society, which I think most of us want to be,
Yeah, and this came from a prior conversation with you that I just love. Like wherever you stand politically about abortion, for or against, I don't think anyone's like, hey, let's have more abortions. But what a better world, right? If adoptions were at least as easy as an abortion, like it's a better place. It's a better society. It's a better everything.
Sure.
Do you know it takes 2 years most of the time to adopt a baby? A child, right? 2 years, man. 2 years? Are you kidding?
And it takes nothing.
Lots and lots of paperwork.
Lots to create one. Right? Like, why is it so? What if it took, if you could buy a new car really easy and it took you 2 years to get a used car? Like, it doesn't correlate to anything else in society or economics. Like, why is that?
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's the point. So, look. It seems like our world is not interested in supporting women as much as men, because men are just in the front of things, right? They're in more money positions. They handle more legislation, right? It's just the way it is. Now it's shifting. Mm-hmm. However, I still think there's a group of men that need to stand up strong about what's right to be done in our world.
Yeah, sure. And I think also there's an overreaction, if you will, to a perception, and I emphasize the word perception, that men are the root cause of all the evils that are around. That because we've lived in such a male-dominated society and everything else, that men are to blame, blah blah blah. And if we can get away from the finger pointing, if we can get away from the blame, and just look at the responsibility aspect of it. And say, okay, dispense with the labels. Let's toss all that aside. Let's toss aside the finger pointing and everything else, and just go straight to responsibility, personal responsibility, and supporting each other in that that goal for responsibility. Hey, it's fantastic.
It is.
Yeah.
Sarah Rose. It looks like this is great. Hi, Sarah Rose. Just want to say hello. You were asking what are the ideas or systems in place to increase the adoptions. And, I'm a front end guy. Like I'm the guy that gets people hyped about ideas. And I'm looking truly, if you go to planmanhood.org, you can see there's a 3-phase plan I have in place. And we're in phase 1, which is finding leaders who want to get in front of the health, the sex education and the parenting and adoption. So thanks. So if you want to look, we're looking for people to get it going and really just to get awareness out there, right? We have news and media caught up in, some silly, famous people's lives. Let's get some famous, silly people, with adoption and really get people clear that, 2 years, really? And then even after that, we have children that end up in these horrible foster homes where they're abused. Like, how is that possible? That's so, we're looking for probably people like you, Sarah Rose, to jump in.
And it should, you would just be a connector. There are adoption agencies. They exist, but if I've gotten someone pregnant, or I'm afraid I'm about to, or I'm afraid I did, or whatever, I might not be in a state of mind to go on Google and do the research. I want to go to a place where someone's like, we can help you out, right?
That's it. Yeah. That's it, right? Someplace, and again, a male place, right? Because as a man, where do you think right now, if something dropped or some nephew came to you or a cousin or your brother was like, hey man, I got a thing with my schlong and geez man, I'm a little awkward. Where would you really go? The hospital, your doctor, Planned Parenthood? Probably not, right? You'd want to go somewhere where you're like, Planned Manhood, man. Okay. Yeah. I know they cover this umbrella.
Yeah.
Come on now, cover the umbrella. Come on.
Right? Yeah, exactly. No.
Yeah.
No.
I suppose we're going to have to do something about the bathrooms as well. I mean, that's not really our area to focus on, but God, there's so many things nowadays for so many people.
Right.
Well, and that it's amazing that such a finite thing that shouldn't be a big deal at all becomes a big deal, but then it distracts from the things that are bigger deals of the life and death issues, and people really struggling. There are bigger struggles that a lot of people have than which bathroom to go into.
They do.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd
be great to get this on the agenda, get this the attention, and so many celebrities do adopt. It would seem like that's an easy route to get to connect to someone, connect to some stories.
Yeah. You know what I think, though? I think that people think, because they're celebrities, I think they have the misconception that they have like more time. They do have more money, right? They're celebrities, so we imagine they have better finances, and it's just easier. But the child still wants to receive the same thing. Oh, yeah. Love and attention, right? So, we follow celebrities, and that's great. I mean, you remember Brad and Angelina? They were like adopting, half a country, and everybody was like, yay! They're all excited. And they're still with the family. Have you ever seen any pictures of them? They're the massive international Brady Bunch. So.
All right. So there's your first spokescouple. It's all set.
I'd love, of course, right? I'd love to tag them in some of this. Let's blab this out. Sarah Rose, you can tag them and say, hey, this wild frontier pioneer wants to do this, and we think we'd like you guys to support it. We'll see.
Yes.
Awesome.
Actually, you're first. Andy and Abio, here we are, right? This is how it starts: conversation, sharing, and real men feel, right? Real men feel that being good matters. That's what I say, right? Good men care, and I think it's important for the 40% of us men who are the good ones to stay up top in front of the conversation.
Well, and I want to get in front of that, like. Every man has the potential to be good. Again, like Appio mentioned earlier, it goes from modeling and education. Like, I think the biggest asshole thinks he's doing good, right?
We certainly
just that he only saw assholes, so
if we can shift it from that 40% number to like 99.999%, then woohoo! Why not have that as a huge goal, right? Yeah, absolutely.
Again, it's just shifting, having more people care, having more adoptions, increasing the rate of
and here's the great part
serve
that
and help everybody, and
decreasing
the rate of
each of these conversations, whether individually or collectively, they all, and from the different and truly infinite perspectives, are all coming together with that same stated intention, that same stated goal, which is let's be better men, let's be more responsible men, let's support each other as men, rather than leaving it to the just locker room conversations, stereotypes, and all of that fun stuff. Let's put it out there in the open. Let's bring it all out. Yeah. Right.
Right. I mean, everything else is out there. There's porn everywhere. How about some best practices with sex? Absolutely. I mean, come on. It seems reasonable.
Cool. And
so the go ahead. If you want to pry or
I just want to even go a little deeper again, based on a talk we had pre-show. The notion of how many people treat women as disposable. And like sex is a sport or a hobby, right? And then the child, they don't even know, or that's just that's the woman's problem. I'm gone, right?
Yeah.
So is that part of the education beyond just sexual practices and health? Is it kind of some cultural, some societal teaching?
I think so. Yeah, I believe so. I mean, that's my intention. To be as presumptuous to say, I'm going to change the cultural attitude of men across.
Right.
I guess I'll own that to some degree. I do. I think so. I think there can be conversation.
Yeah,
why not?
Exactly. And seeing women as human
we could get a guy on the moon. How about we get
people
getting along as couples?
Yeah.
Mostly.
Sure.
Mostly.
Right.
Yeah. So.
And this sort of line's been around with the unfortunately the numerous rape cases that make it into the mainstream media. But I've seen plenty of passed out women in my life, and I never thought hop on that. right? And I'm just like, so somewhere, like it's taught or it's modeled. Like that's not an innate thing. So the people that say, "Oh, you're a man," your sex drive means you're gonna try to have sex with even unconscious beings that are in your way. Like I don't buy that.
Yeah, I agree. I saw something the other day about a guy. I love this. He said the same thing as you, just a little bit differently. He goes, I've been to a lot of parties too, and I've been drunk a lot of times, and I never really fell into an unconscious person.
Yeah.
I just didn't. It didn't make me go do that, right? So it's a poor excuse when people say, I was drunk, and I know we do dumb stuff during that time period, but like you say, creating a foundation of respect. Did you hear about the new app? Did you hear about the new app? So there's this idea, right, tossing around now that there's going to be an app where you check this out. If you're about to get down to business, like there's like first base, second base, third base, fourth base, you have to sync in as a couple and you got to tap it as you go down, right? Hey, you going to make out? Right. Is that cool? Yeah, okay, we're cool. Hey, listen, we're going to mess around second base a little bit, maybe some light petting. Dink, you do it. And then when you get serious, I don't know, there's probably some guy swinging a baseball or who knows, But,
so we're going to gamify sex to make it really consensual at every step of the way?
Right? I mean, that ding, ding, okay. And if you don't get the ding, ding, I don't know, maybe the phone goes off.
And again, it takes some of the tension out of the whole consensual business. It turns it into something that can be truly lighthearted in the process and fun. Because let's face it, sex is fun, right? Absolutely. For consenting people. Absolutely. For conscious consenting people, it's a blast, people, especially
right?
If the intention is to start a family.
People,
hey, starting the family is great. Getting there is great. Absolutely. And darn it, you mentioned something just before the app that I thought was a very interesting point, but now I can't remember what it was. So if it comes back to me, great, I'll bring it up. If not, then right, exactly. Yeah, right, yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
Fine enough. I figured this is a big popcorn session, Yeah. Yeah.
Very interesting.
So, well, you wanted to talk about that, and I know people asked, do we want to teach like, rape responsibility, and the word itself obviously makes everybody upset. It wasn't my initial goal. It was health, sex, and parenting.
Mm-hmm.
However, consensual sex falls under falls under sex, so I feel that that's appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
There's a big demand now for colleges to teach the young kids, hey, how do you handle situations? I think what happens is, I think nowadays we could leverage, look, if you guys aren't responsible, you're going to spend, 6 months to a couple of years in the slammer, with Bubba. So if that's really worth it for you, I think there's not enough consequential fear. Right? I do. I think most of us don't go rob a bank because there's a big consequence, right? If we had no consequence, I bet 30% more people would go rob banks, right? Just to get the money. It was easy.
Self-respect. So and this whole idea that respecting others really begins with respecting ourselves. And how often in these situations when guys just it's like, well, happen to fall into somebody who's unconscious or whatever and have sex with them, how much of that really is an internal something that's going on? That there's such a disconnect between themselves and them not respecting themselves that they feel like the only way they can get respect or perceived respect from their peers is by engaging in supposedly manly behaviors of just boffing whatever female comes along or whatever male comes along for that matter. I mean, just like whatever. How much of that really the root of that is lack of respect for oneself and the perception that the only way that they can be respected is by engaging in which can be harmful behaviors.
Yeah, it's more like the less deserving or worthy you think of yourself as a man, kind of the more outward, the more outrageous you'll try to put on an act. And perhaps even if I don't know how many guys would admit this, but if some insecure fear of someone in college is, well, it's only these, girls in the blackout that I have a shot with. They, well, at least they won't say no. Like how much is really done out of this, like this desperate need that probably isn't reality.
Yeah. I think that's a good point, really, right? So teaching a little bit more self-worth, as they grow up and go in. Absolutely, right?
Yeah.
And obviously, I think the other thing is a lot of people don't
Creating
know.
options.
Isn't that really why we have a lot of problems? Because people don't understand options, or, I mean, I did. Yeah, man. Did you guys struggle, meeting women when you were younger? I think every guy at some point,
Yeah. Even the guys that I was sure didn't struggle.
I've known a lot of guys who they just had women
Playboy, I'm sure admits to having
them,
trouble.
and never had a problem, with getting a date, and they were super, super shy. And maybe that's what made them attractive. That they were just super, super shy. They were very introverted, and so it's like, that just made them even more attractive. So, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I've had guys like that as well.
Yeah. Well, the whole notion of like once someone's married, suddenly everyone they're getting hit on all of a sudden. Like, oh no, if someone else wanted you, you must be worth wanting, and now we're going to come after you.
Right.
That's right. It's like eBay bidding,
Going to an auction.
Somebody, I'll bid a little bit more for you.
Yeah, I'm looking.
I think you're worth a little bit more. Yeah.
So where is planned manhood right now?
Right now. Okay. So I we haven't been able to do it yet, but I almost wish somehow on these we could do some kind of screen share. Have they done that yet with the blabs, or is it just face?
We can put a link in this extra spot. I think you can put if you link to a graphic, it would show up.
Yeah.
But
sure.
That's it.
So okay. Well, right now we're in phase 1. Right, I've built the website. You can go there. You can read about it. I did a video kind of talking about some of the statistics on taxes and some scenarios about, phase 2 is to get 6 mobile units to be able to drive around. And in the units, you'd have an examination room and then maybe 2 like video education stalls. They could be private. Some kid's like, hey man, I got something down there. You go, great, come on in here. You have some kind of nurse practitioner, of course, but then they can go in and kind of read the video about it and kind of step out and go, oh, okay. You know what I mean? So we could kind of leverage that. That procedures, anything like that to get mobile. Because, look, a lot of stuff is in the city. I grew up a lot in the city and I grew up in the country. I grew up in both. And a lot's missing from the country, man. Rural is, you just don't have that access. So I figured mobile's a good way to get the word out. I don't know, I'm a promoter kind of guy, so I probably have like cool music and, even though it's kind of a heavy subject, I'd have it be fun,
Right.
Come in and get clips, dude. Yeah.
Get a free balloon. What?
Yeah, buddy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so that's, that's the first step. And then also, I think we have it as 16 clinics is like phase 2. The idea is to have 1 to 2 clinics in like major areas. Maybe you put them like a couple around Denver, you put a couple around, and again, I want to really, really proclaim in states that are welcoming this kind of service.
Right.
You follow me?
Yeah.
I don't need people blowing up my clinics and stuff. That's ridiculous. Right. I don't need to be part of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't want that? Fine. We won't be down there. We'll be up wherever somebody says that's useful. We have tax incentives. And I think I put here, let me look at it. Actually, let's see if that link works.
I would think some corporate sponsors would be on board with this. Certainly, some pharmaceutical companies, insurance companies, right? Covering a vasectomy saves them more money down the run, right?
Yep. So what I need, though, is like this. So the initial startup, I put it we're talking about it. So the initial startup, I put it at $250,000. I have the outline open. So, and that's really, getting some staff, getting legal on board, insurance, right? Getting licensing set up, getting the team in place. At some point we're going to have like CTOs and CFOs and all that. At this stage, I'm looking to get connected with celebrities, right? That's just to get the word out. And that's the first phase reach out. Get some videos going, right? Virtual, because really videos are free. So if some man sees this and says, wow, you know what? I got a video on, one thing that helped me that I wish I'd known before I got divorced. I wish I'd been able to talk to my wife ahead of time instead of just being angry the whole time because I burned my kid in the process. You know, maybe he gets to go, okay, here's a checklist to go through as an example, right? Now, here's the big one. The plan 2 is for the 16 multi-state clinics, and then, of course, the 6 mobile units.
That's shooting for the stars.
I'm looking to raise $100 million. How outrageous is that?
Yeah.
Perfectly fitting.
It's outrageous because it's an awesome idea.
Yeah, I'm just going to say it, right? Because might as well.
Right.
Yeah, let's give you 200 million instead.
Right, and you keep saying that till you meet the person. Like, no, we want 32 clinics, and now let me write that check. Right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, let's get that going. Great. Yeah, let's get that going. And I think here's what I think. I think a lot of time is valuable for people now. Yeah. I think a lot of society thinks men take from society, right? That's the vision. A lot of us take. So I think there needs to be money injected to pay for staff and make it more of a business, even though it would be a nonprofit business. You know, I think. Well, you know, I don't know.
I mean, nonprofits pay their people. It's not a volunteer organization. So
yeah, right. It's not the world for free. So
right.
That's all, right? That's the difference. So, you know, people still get paid and pay for product.
That's why
what's really great is if you go to planmanhood.org, I know I'm pimping it, but I'm going to, so I can hang out the rest of the time. Okay, great. Okay, great. So if you look at the site, right? I mean, you can just do it now just for the gag of it. You can see what the mission statement is. You can see the arc of population growth since really 1920s.
It's almost going.
You know that our population is quadrupled.
Yeah.
In the last 1,000 years. I mean, that's massive. Yeah, almost. If you look at the arc, I have a picture of it. I did a blog on the site, so you could see it. There's an arc of it. I mean, it's almost straight up. It just boggles the mind. So if that triggers people, right, they can go and they can donate, and if they want to go donate, they can go in, and now check this out. This is what I hope is funny for people. If you go to the donate page,
I love that.
I made it really easy for people. So you could donate $3 for future condoms. Isn't that great? I mean, look, you just want to make it easy. There you go. We're doing a $10 general donation, like $75 for staffing, legal, you know, it goes up. I put $2,000 for a vasectomy, right? Because I figured, you know, all the expenses, medical, the staff, that could sit somewhere when some guy's ready, that'll pay for that for him.
You know, so I use Heifer organization, and I've sponsored kids around the world. And when you go to Notion, you get a little card. But what would you get if I donated the gift of a vasectomy? What's the little memento you would send that guy that donated? That's where you got to have something fun, right?
Yeah, I haven't figured that out yet. I haven't, man. I think at some point I will, but right now I haven't figured out how to reciprocate the value. Other than, you know, maybe just, you know, easing on the tax base for all taxpayers, making some guy's life easier. Maybe he's got
negative adoption certificate, you know, one less adoption.
I'm not sure.
Or something like that. No.
Yeah, right. I mean, you know, you get in a
you send someone, you know, the cost of raising a child. Like, here, you've saved the world this expense, you know, or something like that.
That's a good idea, actually. That's a really, really good idea. That's a great idea for the vasectomy donation. You save save taxpayers $28,000.
And Sarah just mentioned a great point as well. They're likely male surgeons who are willing to donate some time,
that's a really good
pro bono time. I know that's a legal term, but no doctors can do the same thing to do the procedure. So that's something else that we can toss out there as part of that conversation. Not only money to help pay for the procedure, but doctors who may perform the procedure to donate it as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, you see that for lots of different charities. And again, lots of different mobile centers that I've seen that go into Appalachian counties and all sorts of stuff where, you know, Doctors Without Borders is like the biggest international one I can think of, but you know, guys volunteer, go perform their specialty in places that aren't being served. So,
it's exactly so.
And are you already listed on any of the various social media fundraising campaign sites at all?
You know, the planmanhood.org, I just want to say it out to people, is actually built on causevox.com. So if anybody else has a different cause they want to build, it's great. They let you get going, and they give you free service for the first $5,000 you earn. So right now we haven't generated more than $5,000, and that's okay. So CauseVox just lets you kind of get your foundation started.
Gotcha.
So that's where we put it onto.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what we got, gentlemen. And it's always an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
Because it is a little bit of a touchy subject.
But not really. I mean, it's neat. Like, I can't think of what's horribly offensive or third rail that we have touched here.
We've said all kinds of things.
I don't know, man. Abortion,
we've said the word. Like, oh no. But you're not. We're
going to hold you down. We're going to sit.
It's not like you're saying I want to fund an army that goes out and is giving vasectomies against in inner cities to a whole generation of people or something.
Oh my God, that's the quote that they're going to use right there, Andy.
Oh, there's the viral video you wanted.
Like uprest. Oh my God.
The secret is out.
Right.
I spilled the beans.
I mean, God, dude. Thank
great.
God, Mr.
One thing's for sure.
Here,
always,
right?
every program, we always end up having a lot of fun. No matter what the subject, we're always going to end up having fun here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so we'll wrap this up soon. We'll be going for about 40 minutes. But so it's plannedmanhood.org. All the information, everything talked about, and also you can donate right there on the site. Right?
Yeah, man.
All right, great.
And if you're really badass, you can create a donation team.
Oh.
So like if you were like Best Buy, you could do the Best Buy team and you could like compete, Yeah, so there you go.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us. It was a pleasure to have you, and I look forward to you returning to talk about how many clinics are open. Right. And how many mobile units are out there cruising the world?
Dude, that's gonna be. We'll see what can happen, man. I mean, this is one of these, right? Here we go.
Yeah.
I just need one Warren Buffett to be like, hey, man, here's $1 billion. Do it.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. I want to say thanks to Andy and Appio for having me. I really appreciate it. You guys are a fun pair, and you open up a good opportunity with a good conversation and exploring new possibilities with people. And the other thing, man, you're stepping into tech, and this is our world. So way to step high into it. I appreciate it for sure. You guys are awesome at real men feel, because it's true. We do feel, even if it's pain.
Yeah. Right. It's all valid. It doesn't matter what yours is. But we need to feel it, and it goes by easier when you're in pain too. But so we're live again next week, and I'm really excited next week. And you're gonna want to check this out, my friend Gabriel, to talk about viral videos, because we gonna have Chaim Dunbar from that viral video, Where the Men, that call out to that. If you haven't seen that yet, I've got it at realmenfeel.org, but he's going to be joining us next week to kind of ask and answer the call for where are the men. So, excellent. And if you're one of those men wondering where the men are, you can join us at realmenfeel.org and join our Facebook
covered
group,
all the bases.
Real Men Feel, on Facebook, because it's a Facebook group.
It is, man.
Yeah, beautiful. So I want to thank everyone that's listened. Thanks for the commenters. Thanks, Sarah Rose, who is our most loyal commenter. Thanks, Gabriel. Thank you, Appio, for making it today. I know it's a tough day for you. And
absolutely. It's given me lots of opportunities to
I know it was a challenging day for you that you have turned into a positive day. All right.
Yeah.
Indeed. Beautiful. Awesome. Well, I'm grateful for this. I'm always grateful for the conversations we have here, and for all the viewers. If it touches you, reaches you at all, check out plannedmanhood.org, make a donation, spread the word. If you have some surgeon friends, if you have some corporate bigwigs, you can be on the ground floor and get this thing really moving. So please do.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Be well.
All right, man. Be well. Thank you. Take care.